Switching topics on a topic that you brought up with John Kirby earlier, when you said that neither you or he have hit your prime yet. Does the president have anything to say about this national conversation that was sparked after a claim that was seemingly made in defense of the president that Nikki Haley is not in her prime because women hit their prime in their 20s, 30s, and 40s?
You know, I'm not going to comment directly to that. That is something clearly that needs to be addressed by.
Right, I only bring it up because you
No.
brought it up.
I'm going to say something. Just give me a second. I have something to say. When you look at this president's administration, and we have talked about the numbers before, there are more women in his senior advisor and his senior staff role than men. And I think when you think about that, you see a president that truly takes pride and takes deep consideration into making sure, and meaningful consideration into making sure there are diverse voices around him.
All right, guys, so we got to talk about dummy Don Lemon again, okay? As calls for him to be fired are continuing to grow. In fact, CNN actually did not have Don Lemon on today, right, for the CNN morning show, despite the fact that some people like Brian Stelter came out and denied that Don Lemon had been pulled off air, okay? Brian Stelter was saying that Don was scheduled to take Friday off anyways, right? But anybody with any basic common sense knows that they pulled Don Lemon off air, right? They were like, nah, bro, you made a super sexist comment. You can't be on air anymore. And I think what is happening to Don is, you know, kind of bittersweet to a certain extent. And I'm saying bittersweet because Don Lemon, for as woke as he is, he didn't always used to be this woke, okay? He didn't always used to be a liberal left-wing shield for the Democrat Party, a race crusader. Don Lemon back in the day, right, 10 years ago to be exact, actually used to be pretty base, okay? In fact, there's this video of Don Lemon going viral of him being, it's about as base as you could be, right? I mean, what Don Lemon is saying is the type of stuff you will hear on Fox News, right? And I 100% agree with him. And I want to play this clip for you guys just to remind you just how far from glory Don Lemon has fallen, because instead of sticking to his principles and sticking to what he know to be true, right, he decided to worship at the woke altar, okay? And ultimately, what happens is that the wokes eat themselves, because you can never be woke enough, right? If you don't agree with these people 100%, they're going to come after you. Just ask the New York Times, right? They're currently dealing with the trans activists coming after them for not being woke enough, for not supporting the trans agenda enough. So without further ado, let's actually play this video of Don Lemon being based back in the day.
Because black people, if you really want to fix the problem, here's just 5 things that you should think about doing. Here's number 5. And if this doesn't apply to you, if you're not doing this, then it doesn't apply to you. I'm not talking about you. Here's number 5. Pull up your pants. Walking around with your ass and your underwear showing is not okay. In fact, it comes from prison when they take away belts from the prisoner so that they can't make a weapon. And then it evolved into which role a prisoner would have during male-on-male prison sex.
Oh, I'm pretty sure you know all about that, Don. I'm pretty sure you're an expert on this topic, okay? You're an expert on this.
The one with the really low pants is a submissive one.
Yeah.
You get my point? Number 4 now is the N-word. By promoting the use of that word when it's not germane to the conversation, have you ever considered that you may just be perpetuating the stereotype the masser intended, acting like a? Now, number 3, respect where you live. Start small by not dropping trash, littering in your own communities. I've lived in several predominantly white neighborhoods in my life. I rarely, if ever, witness people littering.
Wow, facts, right? Don keeping it 100. Don keeping it all the way 100. Guys, could you imagine Don Lemon saying this in 2023? He would be canceled for this monologue, all right? Just straight up canceled. Just like he just got canceled for telling the partial truth about women and age, right? He got canceled for a partial truth. This is the full-blown truth right here. He definitely can build a network saying stuff like this.
I live in Harlem now. It's an historically black neighborhood. Every single day, I see adults and children dropping their trash on the ground when a garbage can is just feet away. Just being honest here. Number 2, finish school. You want to break the cycle of poverty? Stop telling kids they're acting white because they go to school or they speak proper English. A high school dropout makes on average $19,000 a year. A high school graduate makes $28,000 a year. A college graduate makes $51,000 a year. Over the course of a career, a college grad will make nearly $1 million more than a high school graduate. That's a lot of money. And number 1, and probably the most important, just because you can have a baby, it doesn't mean you should, especially without planning for one or getting married first. More than 72% of children in the African American community are born out of wedlock. That means absent fathers. And the studies show that lack of a male role model is an express train right to prison.
Wow, this sounds like white supremacist talking points, right? Does sound like a white supremacist. Again, guys, how do you go from that to what the current version of Don Lemon is? Again, that's the irony here, right? Again, he went woke and he ended up getting fired anyways because he wasn't woke enough, right? It's just funny. He should have just stuck to this. And see, the crazy part about this is that CNN, this is what they need, right? CNN, their ratings are struggling. And what they need more than anything is more of that, right? They need that Don Lemon. They need base Don, right? I think base Don might be able to save CNN. But again, CNN, though, instead of actually doing real reporting, right, or actually having, you know, a diversity of opinions like the one that Don Lemon just had, no, they want to stick with being cheerleaders for the Democrat Party. They want to be a little bit more neutral, right? But they don't want to go all the way, okay? And that's not a winning formula, right? That's not a winning formula. Don Lemon's on the way out the door, right? He's on the way out the door. I mean, CNN now, again, because they're desperate, they have Bill Maher on Friday nights or something, right? And they were openly roasting Don Lemon on Bill Maher's show.
Well, and as Don Lemon told us on CNN, women actually can't run for president because he said we're past our prime once we get to our 40s. But since you have to be 35 to run, it's like this really tight window between 35 and 40.
Yeah. So again, CNN, I guess technically CNN, right? Like they're kind of taking shots at Don Lemon too while he's off air. Again, this is kind of crazy. Let's read here. Critics of CNN anchor Don Lemon call for the network to fire him after his controversial comments demeaning 2024 GOP presidential candidate Nikki Haley amidst the fervor over Lemon's statements this week about Haley not being in her prime while running for president. Twitter users claim that this might be the time to finally axe the CNN This Morning host. Yeah. CNN needs to fire Don Lemon for misogyny. I've worked with Don Lemon and he's a nightmare and absolutely a misogynist. CNN has been looking for an excuse to fire him after the low ratings in prime time and now the lowest ratings in the morning. I think they have it. Yeah, facts. I mean, they're going to probably get rid of this man. If Nikki Haley gets Don Lemon fired, that bumps her up to second or third at least. Yeah. So that being said, fast forward to today. Don Lemon's been benched. Okay, he's benched today. He's not back on air, despite CNN basically denying that he's been benched. He's still not back on air. So let's read about this. Don Lemon will not appear Monday on CNN This Morning as his future on the show continues to be discussed at the highest levels within the network, according to two people familiar with the matter. Lemon, who was forced to make a groveling apology to CNN staffers on Friday after making offensive remarks about women and aging, had been scheduled to anchor This Morning alongside co-hosts Poppy Harlow and Caitlin Collins, according to a copy of the CNN anchor schedule obtained and reviewed by Confider. But by Sunday afternoon, a new on-air lineup schedule was sent out by CNN management that had the show being anchored by Harlow and Sarah Seidner in New York with Collins in Poland, according to two people familiar with the matter. Quote, there are ongoing conversations about Don's future. A person familiar with the matter told Confider he is a constant distraction. CNN CEO Chris Lynch rebuked Lemon on Friday for the remarks about 51-year-old Nikki Haley being past her prime, saying they had left him disappointed. Quote, His remarks were upsetting, unacceptable, and unfair to his co-host, and ultimately a huge distraction to the great work of this organization, Lynch told staffers on the 9 a.m. editorial call, according to a readout of the call obtained by Confider. Quote, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to hurt anybody. I did not mean to offend anyone, Lemon said on the call. The CNN anchor, who was in Miami with his husband over the weekend, did not appear Friday on This Morning as he had a scheduled day off. CNN and Lemon did not immediately respond to requests for comment. Lemon's agent, Jay Soros, vice chairman of UTA, hung up on Confider when asked why Lemon would not appear Monday on This Morning. Quote, I am now blocking your number, he later texted Confider. Yeah, so, yeah, Don's on out the door, right? Don is out the door. His future is definitely bleak, okay, at CNN. But I'm just saying, if Don is going to be the way he was 10 years ago, maybe he'll have a spot on Fox News. I'm just saying, I don't know. But it's just kind of, again, fascinating to watch the fall of Don Lemon in CNN. It truly has been quite entertaining. So we'll see. I would expect maybe in the next few days ago, Don Lemon is going to be officially axed from the network. But who knows, right? It's just crazy how it took these comments, not everything else he said, not his low ratings, but these comments, right, about women, right, a partial truth, right, for him to actually get fired, right? Again, very CNN-like. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.